Hi, Cruisin' Bob here, aboard the Allure of the Seas, an Oasis-class ship, about to give you my many cruising tips, helpful hints. The ship basically has three main areas besides the sports decks, the buffets, etc. And I'll go through every one of those main areas. As you can see in the background, I am walking towards the boardwalk. That's one of the three main themed areas on the Oasis-class ships. You have the boardwalk, which is on deck 6. You have the Royal Promenade, the signature for the larger Royal Caribbean ships, which is on deck 5. And on this ship, you have Central Park, very, very unique, is on deck number 8. So we're going to walk over to the boardwalk. We are right now at the entrance to the boardwalk, which is located on deck number 6, as I said, in the aft of the ship. The boardwalk is designed in a Coney Island type theme, and it's open air. So as we walk through here, the main doors off the boardwalk, we're going to be walking out. The video is taken as you basically walk into the boardwalk right now, and you've got a hot dog, a free hot dog type stand, a little ice cream type stand, and a very popular merry-go-round. And we're moving the camera straight around. On the upper side, you can see the balconies. These are the balconies that overlook the boardwalk. So be aware that if you put the balcony overlooking the boardwalk, there might be a few noise issues. As I keep walking down the boardwalk, you will notice once again the theme, very Coney Island type themes. You have Johnny Rockets, which is a 4-pay restaurant, a small little arcade area for some little games. And you got a Mexican restaurant, Sabor, you got the tequila bar, and as we walk further and further in there, you can see coming into view is the basic Aqua Theater, where they have a number of shows. As we move further and further down the boardwalk, we get to the Aqua Theater, and here we have a number of shows in the Aqua Theater. So I'm going to turn the camera around a little bit, and you can see the rock climbing wall. The rock climbing wall is pretty awesome. And then once again you have the balconies and the bar down here. This is pretty much the boardwalk area. That's one of the three main areas on the Allure of the Seas. So this is an entrance to the boardwalk that we just finished on the video. And you keep walking the opposite direction, you wind up in the signature item of the larger Royal Caribbean ships, which is the Royal Promenade. Now mind you, we are on deck number 6, and the Promenade is on deck 5. You're basically on the sides of the Promenade, and you can see a water fountain directly in front of me. The water fountain rises and drops because there is a floating bar, which is pretty cool, and you'll see the bottom of the floating bar where the waterfall is actually, or the fountain is hitting the bottom of the floating bar, and the floating bar will start getting lower and lower. I'll try to get that into the video. Now we're down into walking in the Royal Promenade. Once again, you see the fountain, and the floating bar is still up on top, has not yet come down. It comes down every 15 minutes and then basically stays in the same area for 10 minutes. We're walking through the Royal Promenade. You can see the guest services. It's basically pretty much the standard signature Royal Promenade by Royal Caribbean, but things are a little bit at a much grander scale. And we're walking now, we're almost in the middle of the Royal Promenade, and you can tell it's decorated in a Christmas type theme, but pretty much the same type venues that you have in the other ships. The Royal Promenade Cafe, which is pizza and sandwiches. The bow in the stern, which is a signature item for the Royal Caribbean promenade deck. They also have an exclusive Sorrento's pizza parlor that is not combined with a sandwich establishment. Separate on its own, and that's a free. We're almost in the end of the Royal Promenade, and this is one of the real cool features. It's a nightclub called On Air, and you can see they have a marquee that goes straight across. It's actually pretty cool. Constantly going, and of course on the other side of the Royal Promenade you got the Boleros, which is also a bar. One final item, as you're walking through the Royal Promenade, you can take a look up on top and you'll see a large glass window. And the glass window is pretty much holding up Deck 8. And Deck 8 is where we're going to go to next, is Central Park. I'm on deck number 8. I'm about to enter Central Park. As you walk into Central Park immediately, the scenery is really quite beautiful. You've got a number of plaques which basically tell you what there is around Central Park. As we start walking through the Central Park, to the side, the left-hand side once again is what I told you about, which is the floating bar. The floating bar is not in operation right now. It will start up about 3 or 4 o'clock. We have the basic path that goes around. Here is the entrance. I call it the floating bar. It's the Rising Tide Bar. As we come around the bend here, we see more of the beautiful scenery and the plant life. And once again, you've got the balconies which are overlooking Central Park. This is more of the balconies in Central Park. It might not be as noisy as the balconies which are overlooking a boardwalk, kind of a personal choice. So we keep walking down the area. There's a nice bar here right in the middle of Central Park. You can see the beautiful greenery and the growth. It's very, very beautiful. The trees, and you got piped-in sounds of birds as you're walking through. This is more of the balconies in Central Park. It might not be as noisy as the balconies which are overlooking a boardwalk, kind of a personal choice. So we keep walking down the area. There's a nice bar here right in the middle of Central Park. You can see the beautiful greenery and the growth. It's very, very beautiful. The trees, and you got piped-in sounds of birds as you're walking through. Still at Central Park, Di Giovanni's table, the signature item with Royal Caribbean cruise ships. And as we come closer towards the front of the ship, you could tell the beautiful glass, and you get higher and higher into the ship itself. So we're almost complete of walking through Central Park. Turn the camera slowly around so you could get an idea of how it is looking from the 15th deck down to Central Park. You can tell right now we're on deck 15 looking down on Central Park, which is on deck 8, and you can see the cabins that I talked about earlier overlooking Central Park. Could be a little bit quieter. The scenery is very beautiful, and there's not a whole lot of a noise factor in Central Park. Overall thoughts: Oasis class ships, Allure of the Seas, a very beautiful ship. It's very large. Be aware that with 6,000 plus passengers, they tend to be some areas where it gets a little bit congested, but overall I never felt crowded. The non-specialty restaurants, the for-free restaurants, tend to get quite busy during the morning, during the afternoon lunch hour, and sometimes at dinner. especially the main dining rooms, which are located on deck 3, 4, and 5. Deck 3 is my time dining only. Tends to get very crowded in the evening. However, the other activities, they can accommodate large amount of people. You might have to stand in line, but you're on a ship with 6,000 people. Overall, a big thumbs up. Really wonderful. The Oasis class ships pretty much do the same itinerary. They rotate on the Caribbean stops, but every other week they do the same itinerary. Overall, thumbs up. Hope I answered your questions. Please feel free to email me with your questions. This is Cruising Bob. I always try to get you the best deal. Give me a call sometime and I'll work with you.